Hello and welcome to Plumbob Living. So this is my first speed build, but I've been building for a little while now in The Sims 3. I'm not going to make the transition to Sims 4 anytime soon, although I do really like the feature where you can like pick up the whole house and then just like drop it where you want, because I find spacing really hard on lots. Although I did a pretty good job with this one. It's kind of like right in the middle and where I wanted, although there could probably be a bigger front yard. Anyway, I'm in the process of doing like a Sims 3 Sunset Valley renovation, building different houses and kind of making it what I want it to look like. So I decided to start with a starter because they're like much easier to decorate and build. I spent a lot of time on the roofing because I wanted the left to look like the right of the roofing here, because it was what it looked like in a picture that I had seen that I was trying to base this off of, and I couldn't get to work. So I ended up kind of like tossing that inspiration to the side and doing my own thing with the roofing. But I ended up really liking how it looked. It just took like a long time to get it to look the way I wanted it to look. A lot of like trial and error, which you'll see here. Anyway, so like I said, I'm kind of doing a rebuild and want to start with this starter. It ends up being more expensive than a typical starter at around 40,000 simoleons. But I think that you could easily kind of like taper that down when it's in your game if I put it up for download, just by like getting cheaper appliances and furniture, because I definitely kind of splurged to make it look the way I wanted it to look. What I also didn't do, and this is what I will probably go back in game to fix, is that I never changed the fencing in the front to be white. And that's actually the look I want to do. I don't want to do the wood, but there is a lot of like wood tones happening in this house. I just want the exterior to be the white trim instead of the brown. So that I'll probably go back and fix. I also really like the blue door. I think that the brightly colored doors are fun. And I like the gray. You'll see that kind of like color scheme throughout, where it's like blues and like pastel yellows and pinks. It ends up being like a very traditionally feminine house with like these light colors, and what people would consider very feminine colors. I typically like to have very even windows, but on the outside and the inside, so I like everything to match up. And didn't quite work out, but I like how it looks anyway. I also used move objects on, so I had to like do the double window thing up top. And I'm not sure I'm nuts about that window. I think I would want a custom one better. I also ended up really liking the color of the brick out here. I normally don't. I normally struggle with brick and end up like nixing it. I struggle in general with like exterior like brick or stone and getting it to be the color I want it to be. Same with wood, actually. I ended up not worrying about it too much in this house, but I tend to be worried about that. I only did a little bit of landscaping here. I like to do a lot of greenery with like light colors. Sometimes I'll do more like big bushes, but I ended up kind of like keeping it simple on landscaping for this house, which isn't my norm. I'll normally do like very intricate, like a ton of landscaping. I also don't have a place to put a car in this, but that could easily be added. I think what's nice about this is that if you're playing with a sim and you start building a family with it, you can definitely expand on the house to add more rooms, add a second floor, add a basement, add a garage and a place for cars and bikes. And it's also a huge plot of land. There's a lot of land there, so you can add like a giant backyard, and there's definitely room to grow in this starter once you start playing with it. There you'll see like the mailbox is like the pastel yellow and the blue door. I ended up getting rid of this fireplace. It just didn't work. So the first room I ended up decorating was the bathroom. Apparently I do the lighting first. I tried to avoid custom content in this. I thought I deleted all of it, but I hadn't. But I'm pretty sure I didn't use any in this house because I didn't want to. I wanted it to be like totally custom content free. I do have, I think, almost not all, but almost all of the expansion. So there's a lot of objects from that. Yeah, so I think this is where I start this is where I start decorating the bathroom, which is very pink. It's a very pink bathroom, and I really, really actually like it. I thought I would have like an easier time laying it out, but I ended up kind of struggling with this bathroom. I like decorating bathrooms. I think it's a lot of fun to kind of play with them and play with half walls and stuff like that. This is not how the mirror stays. It ends up changing a little bit down the line. There's also, I was watching Grey's Anatomy when I was filming or building this house, so I got distracted. So every so often I had to like cut and go back to change it. Or like I'd save and edit to make sure everything was still recording and still working. But yeah, so I had to like cut to, because there are long pauses where I was obviously enthralled by my television. This is why I can't build and do other things at the same time. I get too distracted and then it just sits there. That little plant that I was just using is a piece of custom content that I really like to layer with that like pink plant, those pink flowers, but I really want to avoid the custom content. I end up playing around with the counters a little bit too. I think I'm about to do it here where I started with like pink tiles, but then I decided to go with something else, and I really kind of liked playing around with like wood the way I did here. I tend to like not like I said, I don't really like wood tones sometimes, or I can't get the right color, but I just kind of like let myself relax and just like choose a color, and I ended up really liking it. I also tried to play around with like a gallery wall here, but really struggled with placement. Gallery walls are not my forte, although I really, really like them. But yeah, so I played with this one a little bit before I finally figured it out. Yeah, see, there's like a lot of playing. And those weren't quite even, and that was kind of bothering me because I wanted them to be the exact size, and then I didn't like the other options other than like the Audrey Hepburn type picture. So I think this is where I change the tile to the wood. Oh, maybe not. There we go. Yeah. And I changed the mirrors too. And the lighting. It remains a very pink bathroom. I'll do a darker wood too there. Didn't love the tile. I also left all of the walls white, which I am not crazy about. I think there's still, even though I've like technically finished this build, I think there's some changes I would make, but that's how I decorate all the time. I'm constantly changing and adjusting because I'm always like, oh, I don't actually really like that. Let me fix that. So no, build is ever really finished, I think. I always think that there's other things that I could change, and I end up doing that very often and kind of redecorating. Then I went into the bedroom, and I ended up with blues here. But I carried the theme of like the wood from room to room, and like the white with the wood. One thing I also want to add, if I could, well, I can. Another thing I would add, going back, is I would do more curtains. I think I need more like custom content curtains to really go with these windows because they're very, very tall windows. And I'm not sure that any of the curtains quite worked for what I was going for with them. Excuse me, I'm drinking water. My friends might tell you that I always talk this much. However, I certainly don't because it is bothersome and I'm drinking a lot of water right now because my voice is feeling very scratchy. But yeah, once again, like I said, this is a very feminine house. A lot of like light colors, pastels. The artwork I think is also very feminine, with like the girl with the diamonds and the Audrey Hepburn type thing. I kind of like this kitchen, and my floor plan wasn't very well thought out, to be perfectly honest. I just kind of like threw in a couple of rooms and a bathroom, and one room right now is a bedroom, the other is a study, although that could be changed to 2 bedrooms, as the family expands. You know, the decor can change to kind of reflect a family instead of maybe like a young single woman might live here. But yeah, so it's just kind of like this open living room, kitchen, you know, then an exit to the backyard, which just has a grill, and then, you know, the other half of the house is these 3 rooms right in a row. It's actually funny because these stools at the island are the ones with the horseshoes on the back, and I don't think I realized that when I put them in because I like that they look simple. But I think if I were to do it again, I would pick a different stool that didn't have the horseshoes, but also has the kind of like simple, just, you know, chair. I used this couch a few times. Same with the rugs. What I tend to do is I tend to, you know, pick one thing and really like run with it in a house. This is, I think, the only place where I used curtains. And I think I would like to use more curtains. But yeah, I think I'll use that couch just one other time. But I tried to use it like 3 times. And I think I used that rug twice, maybe. Yeah, just twice, I think. This is kind of cool what I did out here. I liked, I kind of did a wood. It doesn't totally match with the house, I think, but I like the way it looks. And then I just put the grill in there. But it's just like a nice little, instead of using like a fence, then just some simple landscaping. Usually what I'll do is I'll take rocks to kind of delineate where I'm going to put all my landscaping and then fill it in that way. And I didn't do that this time, but I really like that look too. See, there I go trying to use that couch. So I decided to base it more around the TV instead of like putting couches and then trying to find a space for the TV. But yeah, I'm definitely like picking more expensive items. So to make this $20,000 or like a cheaper home, you definitely could just by like, you know, maybe getting rid of some of the decor and some of the clutter items and choosing less expensive furniture and technology and stuff like that. Like I use the laptop in the study, and I think a pretty expensive bookshelf as well. This is kind of a cool wall. I wanted to play with shelves more, but didn't love how it looked because I think I like things to be more symmetrical. So I ended up deleting like the top one, and I'll do like artwork there instead. And then another half wall here just to kind of break up the room a little bit. I did a lot of like flowers. I like a lot of like greenery and flowers inside just as clutter objects. I think they're nice. It's actually funny because in my like real home, we've been putting out, it's not spring yet. Everything is still very snowy here in the Northeast, but we're starting to put flowers around the house, and it's just like so much nicer, and it makes it feel like spring even though it's not. So I think I do the same thing in my Sims house, is just put in a lot of flowers and greenery to make it seem like spring, or at the very least warmer than it is here. I'm looking and I'm seeing a lot of blue. I don't think I really realized that, and kind of just the pink and the yellow is more of an accent color. Yeah, so I don't have anywhere to put the garage, or excuse me, a car. I think I said that. But there's so much room to expand. This is the study. This is kind of cute. Definitely kind of like just to kind of fill the room, just to have something in the house, but it could be a nursery or another bedroom. I'm sure there's a couple of options. You might even be able to take the front room out and make that like a living room and kind of take out the wall and make this a bedroom, so it's just like a one-room home. Definitely a lot of options to play around with. And I like the this art right here. End up going with the black and white. There's that rug again. A lot of gray, a lot of blue. And here's me trying to figure out a curtain, and it just didn't work. Alright, and so this is the front of the house. And, you know, the study, bathroom, bedroom, living area. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe and like it, and I hope to get more up soon.